Hi, welcome back. Thank you for joining me again. Today's lesson, we are going to go ahead and read Treble in Grand Staff again. And you get to follow along with the video, of course, but you're probably wondering, why are we doing this again? And I'm going to tell you. I want you to really start memorizing the pictures in this book, okay? I want you to get really familiar with the grand staff and where all these guys sit on the grand staff, okay? We've talked a lot about the grand staff now, so you know all about line numbers and you know all about notes. So as we've built upon our knowledge, now when you look and read this book, you're going to understand more and be able to recognize more where the notes are. So that's why we're doing it again. We will actually do it a third time before we get into our notes for reals. And then I'm going to go ahead and give you a sneak peek into your assignment for today. It'll be notes page 20. So why don't you go ahead and turn there? And you might as well have this even open as you're reading so you can kind of look for the answers as we go. So what it says on the top is, draw a line from each character or object to the clef they belong to. Middle C, camp chair, belongs to both. That's why it's in the middle. If you need help, look at the coloring pages on pages 2 and 3, or read Treble in Grand Staff, which you're doing. So go ahead and have this ready to fill out as you're reading the story. So that is your only assignment for today. Read the story, do this page, and you're done. And I will see you next lesson. Treble in Grand Staff, a story that teaches you to read music. Written, illustrated, and read to you by Charlotte Tamanaha. Your mission. Find the floating note cards and match them to their character or object. Touch the card, say the note, then touch the character or object and say its name. For example, D, dude. Pay close attention to where the characters and objects sit on the 10 lines. You've got this. Watch out, coming through! With his camp chair in tow, Dude raced for the shore. Summer was finally here, and Grandstaff Beach was calling his name. Dude's secret spot was the perfect oasis. He could daydream from dawn to dusk, completely undisturbed. B. Beach. C. Camp chair. D. Dude. Dude jumped off his bike and sprinted across the warm sand. For the next 3 months, it would just be Dude, the sun, and the surf. He planted his camp chair on the beach, kicked up his feet, and melted into the sweet silence of summer vacation. Suddenly, Dude looked up and realized his secret spot wasn't a secret anymore. Staring down at him from the edge of the mountain sat a furry goblin. E. Edge. F. Furry. G. Goblin. Even though he was seriously annoyed, Dude forced a smile and waved. Furry Goblin waved back with an axe? Yikes! A. Axe. To make matters worse, Furry Goblin had built himself a brown barn in the middle of the mountain. He was there to stay. B. Barn. Dude was bummed, but determined not to let anything ruin his summer plans, he flipped his camp chair around and tried to relax. Just as Dude was finally getting comfortable, a powerful roar thundered through Grandstaff. Up in the clouds, Dragon was clutching one of her eggs and breathing fire across the sky. "Dragon, what's wrong?" Dude shouted. "Someone stole one of my eggs!" Dragon fumed. Dude scanned his surroundings. There on the edge sat a suspicious-looking furry goblin with his axe. I wonder, thought Dude. C. Cloud. D. Dragon. E. Egg. F. Fire. We interrupt this story for a test of your amazingly smart brain. Point to the notes that are represented by the characters or objects in the treble clef. Dude. Dragon. Cloud. Camp chair. Furry. Beach. Fire. Edge. Axe. Goblin. Barn. Egg. Great job! Now back to our story. Dude tried keeping an eye on Goblin, but as the sun grew hotter, his eyelids grew heavier. He was soon dreaming of surfing a gnarly wave. As he cruised through the crystal blue, guitar music began serenading his surfing. Righteous, Dude mused, until snap! Dude awoke to find Alligator groaning on the top of the water. His belly was oddly shaped like a guitar. A. Alligator. G. Guitar. "What happened, Alligator?" shouted Dude. "I swam up to listen to Furry Goblin playing some groovy tunes," moaned Alligator. "All of a sudden, he threw his guitar at me. My natural instincts kicked in and I swallowed the guitar whole. Now look at me." Dude felt angry. Furry Goblin was causing too much trouble. First Dragon, and now Alligator? What's next, Dude wondered. Moments later, a frustrated fish snuck under Alligator's guitar-shaped gut and swam up to Dude. F. Fish. "I just laid new eggs," Fish exclaimed. "That's great news," replied Dude. "But you don't look happy." "I'm not," Fish fumed. "I finally finished sticking them all neatly together when someone green and orange came crashing through. They scattered my eggs everywhere. Who would do that?" E. Eggs. "Sounds to me like the new guy, Furry Goblin," said Dude. "He's been bothering everyone lately. I just can't seem to figure out what to do about it." Fish thought for a moment. "I have a crazy idea," she exclaimed. "My friend Dolphin loves to swim on the middle current of Base Bay." D. Dolphin. "She told me she often passes above a chest on a boat anchored to the ground." C. Chest. B. Boat. A. Anchor. G. Ground. "Legend says the chest holds the power to solve any problem." "Wow," exclaimed Dude. "Unfortunately, I'm not a great swimmer." "Don't worry," replied Fish. "If you dive under my eggs, Dolphin will give you a ride." Stop. Let's see if your brain has figured out the notes in the bass clef. Touch the notes that are represented by the objects and characters in base bay. Camp chair, guitar, chest, alligator, eggs, fish, dolphin, ground, boat, beach, anchor. Now let's see what you can do with both clefs. Try to remember where the notes sit on or between the lines. Camp chair, beach, dude, alligator, guitar, goblin, furry, edge, axe, barn, dragon, cloud, fire, dragon's egg, fish's eggs, fish, dolphin, chest, boat, anchor, ground. Wow, you are amazing! With nothing to lose, Dude dove in. Sure enough, there was Dolphin. She towed him straight to the chest on the boat, anchored to the ground. Dude grabbed hold of the chest. With a mighty flick of her tail, Dolphin launched Dude and the chest back up to the beach. Dude's mind raced about what could be inside. A super suit with flying capabilities? An army of ninja raccoons? A lightning strike Mega BattleBot 5000? Dude opened the chest and found a glorious, awesome, super cool camp chair? Dude sat puzzled on the beach for a long time. How was a camp chair going to solve anything? Finally, he realized what he had to do. Dude tossed the chest back in the water, picked up the camp chair, and made his way to the edge of the mountain where Furry Goblin sat. Mustering up his courage, Dude stammered, "Hello, Furry Goblin. My name is Dude. I came here to give you this camp chair and ask if you'd like to come down and sit with me on the beach sometime." To Dude's surprise, Furry Goblin's eyes filled with tears. "I've been moving from place to place for a long time," sobbed Goblin. "I've tried making friends, but I always seem to mess it up. Do you really want me to come sit with you?" "I sure do," replied Dude. He planted Furry Goblin's camp chair on the beach next to his. Then he gave Goblin a slightly awkward pat on the shoulder. After Furry Goblin made amends with Dragon, Alligator, and Fish, he made his way to the beach to sit with Dude. Dude quickly realized that secret spots are way more fun when they're shared with friends. From then on, Dude knew how to fix any problem in Grand Staff. He was always amazed at how a simple camp chair can change the world. Hooray! You made it to the end of the story. Let's find out what you've learned. Point to the notes that represent these characters and objects. Axe, alligator, anchor, boat, barn, beach, camp chair, chest, cloud, dragon, dolphin, dude, dragon's egg, fish's eggs, edge, fire, fish, furry, goblin, ground, guitar. Nice. This is the final test. Without looking at the previous page, point to 3 A's. 3 B's. 3 C's. 3 D's. 3 E's. 3 F's. And 3 G's. Congratulations! You now know your basic music notes.